Hello, I'm Eric Reese. We're here today to practice Tai Chi Chuan, a Chinese system of martial arts exercise and meditation. And I'd like to encourage you to work at your own level. In Tai Chi, we say just work at 70%. More than that is too much. So underdo it rather than overdo it. And neither I nor the Senior Resources Facility is responsible for any injury you may incur. So let's stay safe. Okay, so let's go ahead and loosen the wrists, work out some of those kinks and stiffness. Usually when we start this one, we're all a little bit stiff, but consistent practice is the key to flexibility and fitness. We're going to reverse direction, oiling the joints. And relax. Okay, we want to get the breathing down here. That's called diaphragmatic breathing, also called abdominal breathing. We should feel the abdomen moving with the breath. We can think of the abdomen like a ball, like a beach ball. So when we inhale, we're going to fill up the ball with air. And when we exhale, we're going to allow it to deflate. We're going to inhale and expand the waist, and exhale and let it relax. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, contraction. They're opposites. Expansion. Deep breathing down here. We need to relax the entire body to allow us to feel like we're breathing here, and then contraction or relaxation. Those are yin and yang opposites. So just like the symbol on my shirt, yin and yang, in Tai Chi, we actually use the yin yang not just philosophically, but also physically in our practice. So in Tai Chi, we often have a balance of opposites. Okay, so we want to learn how to apply that principle to our daily life. Let's go ahead and do the prayer wheel exercise. Turn your right foot out. I'm going to mirror you, and your left foot is forward. Palms are facing. The prayer wheel exercise. One of the first exercises I learned from my teacher. You can see I'm still practicing it. And the prayer wheel benefits 4 major health systems of the body. Vascular system, that's heart and circulation. Nervous system, including the spine and the brain. Lymphatic system, our waste removal system. Very important function, the lymph nodes, the lymphatic system. And the fourth part is energy system, or chi system. Still largely unrecognized by Western medicine. So we have vascular, nervous system, lymphatic system, and chi system, all benefiting from the practice of the prayer wheel. Can you also discover the martial arts applications of this movement? Imagine an opponent in front of you. You could be pushing. You could be grabbing their arms and pulling them towards you. All different applications. And let's change sides. So at home, practice 10 on each side, and then gradually build up to more. 25 or 50 on each leg as our legs get stronger. Now, the more you relax and the more we focus on the correct breathing, you'll start to feel tingling in the hands and fingers, and that's feeling the chi. So see if you feel any changes in the hands. If you're not feeling it already, don't be upset, because that's just adding tension when we're working to release it. It'll happen later. That's okay. Energy system. Chi. And relax. And now when the hands are down, it might feel like blood is pooling in the hands. They might look darker. I don't know if you can see my hands, but they've darkened considerably since we started just a few minutes ago. See if you're feeling anything there. Okay, good. Now we're going to do another exercise where we widen the stance a little bit, and this is called the great pulling exercise. Shift the weight a little bit on this one. Keep the palms forward. Shifting back and forth. I'll go a little faster so we get a little bit of flow going here. The great pulling exercise. So like pushing, pulling is a very good weapon in martial arts. Now this would be pulling somebody who's standing to the side, grabbing an arm and pulling them across. And relax. Okay, with the same stance, which is called a horse stance, let's go ahead and hold an imaginary ball. Hold the ball, your right hand is on top, and we're going to push out to your left. Again, I'm mirroring you. This is called Fair Lady Works the Shuttles. The shuttles from an old-fashioned weaving loom. Protect your head and strike or push with the palm. Lower both arms at the same time. Address another opponent. Lower both arms. Block and strike or push. Fair Lady works the shuttles. Now you might notice it's very subtle, but when I push, I'm going a little bit lower in the legs. When I hold the ball, I'm coming up a little bit. Push and go a little bit lower. Hold the ball and come a little higher. Push, relax. And take a rest. And let's go right to knee rotations. 9 gentle circles. And reverse. And step back in and shake it out a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to do some gentle kicking. You might want to hold on to something, a chair or a wall or a table. And we're going to balance on one leg. And just like we're flicking some water off our shoe before we go in the house, we're going to relax the ankle and kick very loose. Kick. Now if you like, use your arms for balance, stay relaxed and kick. Same side, kick, kick. Just like you're flicking some water off your shoe. And let's do it on the other side. And keep your arms out just to feel stable. If you need to hold on with one hand, go ahead and do that. We can also do this while we're sitting in a chair. So gently kicking, not too high, like a kick to somebody's shin. Kick, kick, very loose, and relax. Okay, so kick is a good weapon. Also working on balance and leg strength. All right, the next one. Let's go ahead and practice some Tai Chi form. The very first movement of Tai Chi, commencement. Important meditation practice. Get the feeling that the arms are floating up, and then we need to pull them down. Add a little stretch at the end, and relax. So between the discs of the vertebrae between the vertebral cartilage, there's a disc, a spongy disc. So when we stretch, we want to drop the tailbone and lift the top of the head, so we're literally separating one vertebrae from the other. Then when we relax, the vertebrae rest on top of each other, pressing against that spongy disc and keeping it moist and pliable. So if you know anybody with disintegrating discs, they're in a lot of trouble already. So to keep the discs moist, like a nice sponge that we can keep using rather than letting it dry out and get brittle, we need to do some stretching of the spine. So in commencement, we're doing that when we add that little stretch at the end. So right now, I'm going to think of pushing down with my hands and letting the bottom part of the body also stay down. I don't want to bring that part up because then I'm not stretching. So as I push down, I imagine the tailbone going down as well, while I gently lift the top of my head. Now the key word here is gently. As I gave you a precaution at the top of the program, avoid working past 70%. So we add that stretch, elongate the spine just a little bit, and then relax, and we're massaging those discs. You can see how important this is. So let's do commencement again. And gently stretch, dropping the tailbone, lifting the top of the head, and then relax everything. One more time. So it looks like we're not doing much here, but we're really doing quite a lot for our health. Okay, good. So a saying in China, you're only as young as your spine is healthy. So having an injured spine makes us very old very fast. You understand? Aging poorly. So our purpose is to commit to anti-aging so we have a ripe, healthy old age. That is the purpose of practice. Now the second movement, grasp bird's tail. Notice how I'm protecting my body in the front. Somebody might kick, I block. Somebody might punch, I also block. And now I turn to the side. So you're doing it opposite of me. You're turning to your right side and keeping the hands in place to defend yourself. Right now, we're just dealing with an imaginary opponent, but in real life, we might have somebody real or another situation that requires the same movement. Grasp bird's tail to the right. The third movement has the same name, but it's different. We're going to hold the shape of a ball again and step with your left foot, and the palms pass at the level of the heart. And this is called grasp bird's tail to the left. So if you get very confused by that, two moves have the same name, but they're not the same move. I've already lost you, so just let that go. And there's an important lesson in letting things go that bother you, okay? You see how subtle that was, how we worked that in there? Okay, now I'm going to turn my back to you and just do those two moves so you can follow with me. Grasp bird's tail to the right, and you're blocking a punch from this person now. But now they've got a buddy over here. They're also not very nice. They want to hurt you. You're going to hold the ball and step toward them and block with the left arm. Grasp bird's tail to the left. Let's do that again in this fashion. You're following me, just like in class, I often have my back to my students. Okay? So you're following to the right and then stepping. And the palms pass each other at the level of the heart. We're sending healing chi, the word for energy. Healing chi is going to the heart. So you're going to see this happening a lot in Tai Chi Chuan. And it's one reason Tai Chi is so good for the heart. This is Chinese medicine. Physically, mentally, spiritually, we ward it off. Ward off. Now imagine you're grabbing an arm. Roll back. Again, pulling is a weapon in martial arts. I grab and pull, and if I do it forcefully enough, I can make somebody fall down or run into the wall or furniture or out the window. So roll back, right? We pull back. Now touch. Press, here's another kind of push. Press. One hand pushing into the wrist of the other. Press. And push. Make a circle. And then push. And there's our weapon. Now I'm going to turn around and do it facing you. So I'm mirroring. You again. Let's take those last few steps. So let's see how we're going to do this. I'm going to mirror you this way. I got to figure this out for myself. So here's your grass bird's tail left. Your left arm is up and your left foot is forward. Ward off, protect, and step. Roll back, grab their arm and pull, and you don't want to pull them right into you, right, and have a head-on collision. So you're going over again. You can watch some of the other ones. Remember that on youtube.com I have all my programs on there, and today we're shooting about the 27th or 28th program, so there's plenty of training. Each one is about 30 minutes, and there's lots of different kinds of information in each one. So now we're going to jump ahead and work on step, parry, punch. This is at the end of the form. In fact, step, parry, punch happens at the end of every part of the form. We call it sections. Each form has a section that we learn. Step, parry, punch. I'm going to do it facing you. Hopefully this won't confuse you. And I'm starting from a move called brush knee left. Again, I'm mirroring you. I don't think I've shown it from this angle in previous lessons. Make a fist. There's the first part. It's good to learn each move in separate parts. Practice that first part. It might feel foolish to do so. Well, that's simple enough. Why do I need to practice just doing that? So you'll learn it. So that in an emergency, if you have to use it, you can do so without thinking about it. Make a fist and turn. Now we're going to make a circular step with the right foot and bring the fist across the body. Circular step with the right foot. It's called a Chinese opera step because it was popularized in opera. And step forward, parry, which is a kind of block or deflection. Parry, they use the term in fencing a lot, and then punch. Shift forward, punch. So you'll do a good job on yourself by just practicing the punch. Notice there's some detail going on there. My fist turns over as I go forward. Parry, punch. Parry, punch. From the side, parry, punch. So in training martial arts, repetition is very important. Again, so we don't have to think about what we're doing. If you're in a real fight, you don't have time to think. You have a greater chance of getting hurt if you start going into your head. You've got to act, and then you can think about it later. You know, I always tell people there's two results of a fight in real life, of actual violence. There's two results that are possible. One is you'll get to tell the story, and the other is that you'll have a story told about you, because you won't be there to tell it yourself. So you understand how important it is to train for something that we hope will never happen. But it's better to know it and not need it than to need it and not know it. And that's the purpose of training, to protect ourselves. Now, this physical training translates into a protection against everything, whether it's the flu, whether it's psychic attack from other people. If you've experienced psychic attack, which happens on a spiritual level, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, well, I have to say you're darn lucky, but don't be surprised if you experience it in your lifetime. So getting strong and fit protects you against all manner of attack, from animals, from the cold, from the rain, from the winter, from the heat, from all kinds of attack. So basically, we're all always under attack. I always say, I'm always fighting something off. I don't feel sick, I'm not sick, but I'm always exposed to people who are sick. I'm exposed to germs. You know, rather than live shut away, I choose to go out in the world, and of course, knowing that I go out, I'm also exposed to all sorts of things. And most people, when they're sick, they don't stay home. How many times have you been at work or in a restaurant? Maybe it was a person serving you food and they have the flu, they're sick, they're hacking, they're coughing, their nose is running, their eyes are watery, but they're out. They don't care, right? They're still gonna go to work and they're still gonna do that. And kids will, you know, people will send their kids to school sick, and then the teacher gets sick and everybody's sick. So you know how that goes. So you're always fighting it off. That's why you study martial arts. You're always fighting it off. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some other movement. We've been working on some kicks. So I'd like us to work on a circular kick from the hip. I'm going to use my hands as a kind of target. Again, if I need to hold on, I can hold on to a chair. In fact, I'll show that. We always have a chair handy when we demonstrate. Okay, so I hold on to something. I use my hand for a target. I'm going to make a circle with my knee. Maybe lightly brush against my hand. If I have to, I'll hold it a little lower. See? Now I have a target. How high do I want to lift the knee until it can touch my hand? I circle. Circle. This is very important for the hip. How many times do you hear people complain about their hips? Hip pain, right? And all kinds of arthritis in the hip, inflammation. We need to loosen the hip. This movement, the hip, like so many joints, is a ball and socket. It needs movement, and Qigong recognizes circular movement is the best for most joints. Learning to make a circle at the shoulder, making a circle at the hip is the best lubrication possible, the range of motion. Now, maybe I move my hand over, I want to do it this way. And close the hip, close the hip. Now you could also do this sitting in a chair. You know, people say, well, I can already do that. Why do I have to practice? So you can keep on doing it. So if you go and ask an 85-year-old person who's never practiced to do that, they can't do it. They can't do it anymore. Now, if they'd started earlier and they kept going, they could still do it at 85, even 95, maybe 105. So you practice what you want to keep, and you don't practice what you don't care about losing, right? Use it or lose it. So you want to be able to do this when you're older. See, this is a supreme case of delayed gratification. I'm not practicing for my next birthday, I'm practicing for 10 more birthdays later, 20, 30, and so on. Now I can use my arms for balance here and bring the knee and bring it back. Bring the knee past the two hands, and then you don't even have to touch here, just bring it back. With more practice, now notice how I'm sitting in my leg here. More practice, I can touch my shin. Oh, okay, that's a little harder, isn't it? I can touch my shin and come back. And so can you with practice. Later, we touch the foot. Later, we might do it fast, like that. And we have a real live Tai Chi kick. Okay, now I usually practice it on one side most of the time. A lot of us are right-handed, so we tend to favor one side. Tai Chi makes us a little more ambidextrous. So I think we better practice on the left side. And let's start low, open. I'll just make a circle in the same direction. Are there any places in that circle where we feel a little bit stiff or locked up? Or does it hurt? You see? Now closing, I'll just bring it in. Closing, closing. Okay? And then I might have the arm out and go, the knee brushes, then I circle back. The knee brushes the hands, and then I circle back. Knee brushes the hands, then circle back. Okay, so we need to start simply with our training, or otherwise we'll just end up frustrated and we'll quit, right? We just quit when we're too frustrated. But now you can see, well, why do I want to practice this? something that's almost too simple so that later I can get to this. You see? I've gotten into a good habit of practice. All right, very good. Any questions? Okay, I can't hear you, so it doesn't matter. Let's just see how we're doing on time. Okay. Doing okay. We'll close up in a minute. Now let's put that ending in the context of Tai Chi form. You can imitate me here. 7-star punch. This is called a downward cross hands block. So imagine if somebody came up and tried to kick me like that below the belt. So I have my arms here, and I step back out of the way and block that kick, and now we sit back to ride tiger. So we're going to turn, and then we would spin. Don't do this at home. Spin and kick. And there's our kick. Wow, it gets real fancy, doesn't it? Follow me from the back. 7-star punch. Downward block with the arms still crossed. And sit back to ride tiger. Look back, look front. We would turn and kick. And come back. And that's probably enough for one lesson. Okay, so in order to do things that you can't do now, you practice the simple stuff and build up, and the rewards are worth it, I promise you. So I appreciate you being here and watching the programs and sharing with others. Thank you, and the idea is to spread the word of good health throughout the community and keep our focus very positive. Recover the fist, clap 3 times.